Welcome back to another episode of Explore the SRV. We're in the Susquehanna River Valley. I'm Laura Good, your host, and joining me at the Visitors Bureau this month is Colleen Bowman of Susquehanna Kids. Colleen, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm
This
excited.
is great. Do you like our podcast room, though? It's
This
pretty
is
cool.
really fun. I could hang out in here.
This is only the second episode we've recorded in here, and I just feel like each time it kind of becomes a bit more homey, a bit more cool. I hope we.
Well, I've never done a podcast before, but I feel really comfortable in here. So this is nice.
Podcast number one for you. Cool.
This is podcast number one. Yeah.
Well, we're in August. It's back to school time.
Mm-hmm.
My nephews in Florida actually started school this week, which is crazy to think about.
Yep.
I know my sister goes back to work. She's a teacher in a local school district. She goes back to work next week. But as we sort of turn the page, right? Families, they get busier. They start doing their calendaring. Let's talk about Susquehanna Kids.
Yeah.
For those who may not be familiar, why don't you just share a little bit about what Susquehanna Kids is, the type of organization, et cetera?
Yeah, absolutely. So Susquehanna Kids is essentially a parenting platform.
Cool.
And what we try to do, it's a bunch of moms and myself, and we try to pull as much information as we can into one spot.
Okay.
And so we have a website, susquehannakids.com, but we also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. We have email newsletters. We're trying to reach parents where they are.
Okay.
And we have a number of different pieces that we run. So we have a calendar of events. That's probably one of our most popular pieces that we have. We have almost 500 events each month.
Oh, wow. That you all put on?
No, that we pull. So we're pulling all this information. So
I was going to say you are a busy, 500 events in a month. I was like, oh my God.
No, that's not sane. I wouldn't be sitting here.
That's crazy.
No, well, we started as Bloomsburg Kids because I'm from Bloomsburg.
Sure.
And I wanted to start something to be able to have information to share with people.
Okay.
And it kind of very quickly gained some traction, and people were saying, this doesn't exist already.
Yeah.
So we got some funding to expand it. So now as Susquehanna Kids, we cover the 5 counties of Columbia, Montour, Snyder, Union, and Northumberland.
It's awesome.
Which is this, same 5 counties as a number of other organizations. And so now that we cover these 5 counties, we do have a number of events. But what we found is I was trying to find the right mix of how far do you go, right? Like how much information are you going to gather? And I think it's a nice mix because if you have someone in Lewisburg, they'll drive to Bloomsburg if it's a really great event. Or, if you're in Bloomsburg, you'll go to Sunbury to the river. So it feels like a nice balance of coverage.
I feel like we're all kind of connected. The 5 counties you just mentioned, and then the communities, we're all sort of connected along the river, that it organically makes sense to sort of, if you live in Lewisburg, you might not know what's happening in Bloomsburg or Berwick, but if you live all the way in Berwick, which is Columbia County, you might not know what's happening in Sunbury or Milton. So what a nice resource.
Exactly. And it shines a light, and then they're very, they're accessible. So a lot of the events and activities, we cover classes, we cover, farms, where to go around here.
Cool.
Those are some of my favorite things to do with the kids when there's berry picking or peach picking.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of the farms had a hard frost.
In April, that was really,
it
was really, really sad to see a lot of the farmers fully lost their crops. I know my family, we enjoy going to Green's Orchard and doing apple picking every fall. Fingers crossed they have some this year.
Yep. So some of the farms, have some of them, but they'll also do around Halloween time. They'll have a lot of the fall activities for the kids, and I think those are some hidden gems. And so our what we're looking to do is to provide kind of accurate information, and then also provide the insights that we have from raising our kids in this area.
Yeah.
We're starting to see a lot more AI on socials and things like that, and things that might not be correct, and things that are pulling from older sources. And so we feel our job is kind of more important than ever now to make sure we're kind of sorting and sifting and sharing the right information with families.
So talking about sharing information, your back to school events calendar recently just launched, and you said you have 500 events per month, which is sort of extraordinary. What can families expect to find on it, whether you're homeschooling or you have kids in traditional public schools? I'm sure that there's something for every parenting and school situation on your calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you go to our homepage, the first thing that you're going to see is our weekly blog. And so that's information that we'll share on a weekly basis that's very timely. So actually right now, this is back to school related. Each year we post a dance and gymnastics gymnastics blog.
Cool.
Where it's essentially a guide, but we list kind of all the dance studios and all the gymnastic studios in the 5-county area. And then if there's back to school or if there's open house nights, if things have changed, if classes have changed.
Wow.
So we try to put that all in one spot because, as you know, from your nieces and things like that, when you're going back to school, it can be pretty overwhelming. There's a lot of things you have to do and check off. And so we're just trying to make that process easier for parents.
Sure.
So in that dance and gymnastics guide, it's kind of one spot. If your kiddo's interested in that, you can kind of look to see what's going on. But right under that on the home page, there's a button that says back to school events. And so what we started to notice a couple of years ago is there's so many. It's part of why I love this community. There's so many great organizations, and some of them are churches, but some of them are businesses, and they're really looking to give back. And so back to school is a time that they do that. So what we did is we pulled together all of the kind of free and back to school resource guides in one spot in that calendar.
That's awesome.
So when you click on it, it lists some of them started in July, but even today, I looked at the calendar and saw what was going on. Even today at Berks Technical Institute in Lewisburg, they're having a Bring Your Own Backpack event, and then in Muncie at the Hope Community Church, they're having a back to school clothing and supply giveaway.
Oh my
guide.
gosh! And you can just go and get things for free.
So you can just go.
That's amazing.
Which is absolutely amazing. So when we pulled them all together, there was 20 events that I counted across the 5 counties. This Saturday, W&L Subaru is having, they're giving away haircut vouchers.
Okay.
Because that's something that can be...
a costly experience, especially if you have multiple kiddos and you want to have that sharp looking hair to go back to school.
Yeah, so I think we'll have a table there, and they're going to have food trucks and things like that as well. But if you go ahead on and look at that page, you'll see a lot of those events if you're looking to, have a little help as you're going back to school.
That's great. I think parents are really searching for that, though. I feel like trying to find community nowadays while you just picked up your phone, right? We're so accessible at our fingertips to all of this stuff, but then sometimes we feel so separate from one another that if you're a parent and you're really in the weeds with scheduling and trying to navigate what a resource that you could reach out and be like, hey, I kind of need some help. I'm sure you could point people in a million different directions of where they need to go and what they need to do.
I love that you just touched on that, because I think a big part of the mission, what we're trying to do, is to get people connected and get people out in the community. So all of the events that we have and all of the guides and all that information, there are all these really in-person things. And I think having that connection, we have a guide on mom groups.
Cool.
So you can go to the guide and see, here's 15 different mom groups that are in the area. This is how you can connect. I think when kids start to go to preschool and move and some of those pieces, even when you've got kids at home, there's kind of a group for all different stages of moms.
That's excellent. Yeah.
And I think having that connection is really important.
So before all of the moms, dads, caregivers, parents out there really dive into back to school, for families kind of trying to soak up the last days of summer, I bet that there are a ton of adventures that they could fit in for free on your website.
Yep.
What does that day look like?
So I thought about that a little bit in preparation for this podcast, kind of what's an ideal day. And I think it really depends on the age of your kids.
Sure.
Right. So
And interests.
And then I think it goes back to, nap schedules and things like that. But I think kids don't have an incredible attention span, so 2 to 3 hours. And that's why I think doing these day trips kind of within our valley is such a great option, because you don't need to drive, 3 hours and then spend the 2 hours and then come back. So we have a day trips guide, the Susquehanna River Visitors Bureau also has a day trips guide that I took a look at. And it really kind of walks you through so many different options.
Sure.
And I think they're not there to be overwhelming. I think the opposite. I think they're there so that you don't feel like you need to kind of search all over the place to find that information. You can kind of take a look in one spot and say, all right, we're going to do this and this. And so
that's it.
Lake Tobias is fantastic. And Claws and Paws are 2 different, animal friendly venues. Knoebels, obviously, in our. I actually just dropped my daughter there on my my way
really?
here.
But that's the beauty of Knobles. It's free. She could just go and walk around safely, right, with another parent, a group of friends. If they're in, that middle school age or high school age,
Exactly.
You don't. It's pay as you go, so you could spend all the money in the world, or you can spend zero money and just run around with your
And
friends.
it was so easy. It was a friend's birthday, and I think she last minute wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And Knobles makes it an experience. And I was able to connect with the mom and drop her off. So I love that that's in our backyard.
That's great. Yeah.
And then I also love, we have a couple guides on our website, local watering holes or swimming swimming pools.
Yeah, to get out on the river.
And I think sometimes it's a matter of just going a town over and going to a pool that you've never been to, or going to a playground that you've never been to.
Yeah.
And it makes it exciting.
So excited because the littles haven't been there before.
Yeah.
It's a different playground than the regular playground.
And the
that you might go to.
playgrounds are free. Another thought that I had in kind of how would you structure a day trip would be, you can anchor it with, Crayola Factory, or up in Scranton, they have an aquarium, some of those things. But then it's nice to also, throw in a playground or throw in a library. Sure. It kind of helps to round out the day.
We actually did that with friends of ours that visited from the Syracuse area.
Okay.
So they kind of drove across the thruway, came right down Route 15 because they wanted to go to Clyde Peeling Reptile Land.
Fun. We love that.
Yes, right?
we love,
right? Their daughter,
there.
obsessed with snakes. She's
perfect.
one of those. Oh, no, she loved, she was so happy.
Yep.
And then ended up that we were like, okay, well, you guys go do that, like family time, and then we'll meet for lunch and do something else. All we did was then meet in Lewisburg.
Yep.
And go to the playground. And we chose to go to the playground that's on St. Mary Street by the pool. And it just naturally rolled into, well, there's the splash pad there. And it was a lovely afternoon.
And that playground actually has a little creek that goes along
They
it.
do. It's so
And
cute.
there's ducks, and people, it's controversial whether you should feed the ducks or
Apparently,
not.
we're not supposed to feed the ducks.
But whether you do or not, when I took my kids there's a story walk, and my kids kind of rolled their pants up and got in the creek.
Cool, yeah.
And those are, we have, and I think, again, that's a great thing that the Visitors Bureau does, as well as our team in our guide. We have some of those notes. So we say, if you're going to this playground, did you know that there's a little creek there? And did you know that there's a story walk?
And it's educational as well as fun.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great. So then that kind of rolls on into, once the school year starts, schedules get busier. Mm-hmm. What are some easy, low-pressure ways families can get out and enjoy the area, get out and enjoy the 5 counties or the 3 counties that encompass the Susquehanna River Valley?
So I really love all of the little events that pop up with, whether it's a library putting it on, or a church, or a little carnival, or a little festival. And we got some advice years ago from a teacher, and they said, you really, they highly recommended not planning big things on the weekends when your kids go right back to school.
Sure. So that overload.
Yes.
Like they get overwhelmed.
And and you might think, well, maybe they're not being that physical, but emotionally, it's a lot to go do that full day. And so they said that weekend might be best just to kind of leave it open and let your kid, kind of relax. And so in that vein, if you don't have things planned, but then, the Saturday comes up and you're like, kind of itching to go do something.
Yeah, let's do something.
When you go to our calendar, I took a look at my kids go back to school next week. So I took a look at our calendar. One of my favorite things about the weekend calendars is you cannot have anything planned and look up and see, oh, here's 20 different things we could go do. So next Saturday, jotted down a couple of them because I thought they were fun. So next Saturday, if you were like, oh, we do want to get out, we have, I just pulled 5 of them, but the Bucknell Football Family Fun Fest is happening in Lewisburg.
Wow.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing.
I feel ashamed because I graduated from Bucknell. I should know these things. Oh, who knew? Okay.
So they're having a fun fest. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but there's details on our website.
Yeah.
The over in Millville in Columbia County, they're having a Touch a Truck Day. So if your kid's
fun.
into that, the North Shore Railroad is having train rides. I don't know if you've ever seen the little train cars that they have.
It's super cute. They also have that big America 250 locomotive.
Oh, you know what? That might actually be what the event is.
It's super cool looking. People get very excited about this train.
That may be what the event is. I just looked at the title.
Yeah.
Over in Bloomsburg, they're having Art Fest. If you've got some older kids, and actually they've got so many booths for younger kids. And then also over in Lewisburg, there's a Nature's Explorers History and Mystery, and it's only $7 a family.
What, a family?
Yeah, for a whole
that's
family.
great. So it's not per person.
Right. Right.
Fabulous. It's so interesting too. It depends on like attention span, age of kiddo. I'm sure it depends on what their interests are, but what are some of the activities that you professionally find keep kids most engaged when you're going to choose a weekend activity, a day trip activity, or even like a weekend of activity? Like, what do you think?
Yeah. So again, it is kid dependent. I think letting them have the ability to play, like a little bit, having it be like a little more open ended.
Okay,
So
so
for
not as
example,
structured.
when you
Sure.
go into the Lewisburg Children's Museum, they have a lot of kind of just open play situations where kids
Sure.
can go and explore. That also works with anything outdoors. So any of your playgrounds, any of your watering holes, any of
Okay.
your creeks. There's kayaking that you can do right here on the river.
Yeah.
I think those things are fantastic. A little hack that I have for attention is doing one of these day trips. I either bring kids and I load them up in the minivan, or I'll partner with another family or two.
Yep.
And I've found if kids are playing with each other, that
They're more engaged.
they're more engaged.
Yeah, sure.
So
That makes
they tend to kind of extend longer.
That could also backfire as they feed off of one another and really snowball into something crazy quickly. But
I found in general it just works really well. I also think I was looking at the day trips guide that the Visitors Bureau has on their website, and it talks about what to do in Lewisburg, but then it also talks about if you're going down Main Street, here's a couple food places to go to. Food is very important as you're planning the day for the
you do not want
kids.
hangry kiddos.
Yes.
That's how you have a bad time.
Yes.
You need a snack. You need a spot to eat. And then also every kid is different. I know for my nephews in particular, like we need to access some quality chicken fingers. And or like we're not yet elevated palates. We're very much, kiddo basic. We're happy with but the one, no French fries, only chips. It's so interesting.
Well, they're all and all the caregivers kind of know the little pieces.
Correct.
I've found, I think one of the biggest things is to not have too much pressure.
Okay.
Right. To if you go into the experience or the trip that you're trying to do and you're thinking, all right, I want to get these couple pictures and I got to make sure we do this and make sure we do this. It's usually a recipe for failure because if you're not just kind of being with your kids as you're doing it, and I'm not perfect at that either. You get kind of caught up. But again, I think that's another beauty of staying local. So you don't have the pressure of, all right, well, we flew out here or we stayed over in the hotel. We did all these things. If you're only 45 minutes away and your kid ends up having a meltdown or you've got someone that needs a nap,
no big deal.
You're not that far.
You're not that far from home.
And there really are true gems in our area. I feel so passionate about. I think this is such a great place to live.
It is. That's why we started this podcast, because it is an amazing place to live. But I think locally, there's so much that even I personally have yet to discover, because every time I'm talking to someone like you, Colleen, right, inviting them in, learning about an organization, a company, or an activity in the area, I'm constantly surprised because, I didn't know that. Oh, that's a thing. Cool. I actually had no idea that the park in Lewisburg had a story walk.
So that was the whole that was the whole reason that I started this website, because I grew up in New Jersey. I'm not from the area. My husband grew up here, and I was working, and then I became a stay-at-home mom when we moved here, and I felt I was pretty lonely.
Sure.
I wasn't from the area. I had the kids, which is this whole new life experience, and I'd be on Facebook and I would see that someone just went to like this zip lining thing at a farm, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was awesome.
It looks cool.
I would have no idea, no way of knowing that, and it seemed like you had to either grow up here or be connected with the right friends on Facebook to kind of see that the events were happening. Sure. And I just kept thinking, we have all this technology now. I know we live out here, but we can really have the best of both worlds out here. We can have, the total rural lifestyle, but have also all that technology at our fingertips.
Well, and to your point, you can drive 15 minutes, 45 minutes, or you could do the 3-hour big trip to a big city. No big deal, because we are positioned in a way that makes the area that we live in really accessible to so many things. And also, you kind of took what we were talking about before, we're all connected, but you feel a little lonely, this is what a great resource Susquehanna Kids can be for a family that's moving into the area. And whether they're choosing to homeschool or go to private school, parochial school, or enter into the public school system, if you don't have that immediate connection with another family or a neighbor, you kind of are like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like what? I don't know where to go and what to do. What an excellent resource.
That's our whole
That's
mission.
amazing.
That's our
I love
mission.
it. So last quick question.
Sure.
If you had sort of one, I'll use quotations, like perfect Susquehanna River Valley family activity, like, but for your family or a friend's family, what would that be?
So one of our favorite things to do, what we try once a year. When I was thinking about this, once a year we love to go to Lake Jean and Ricketts Glen.
Oh yeah,
and so we'll pack up some food and we'll go and we'll do a little bit of a hike, but then you can go down to the beach and the snack bar is ice cream and you can rent the boats. There's a number of lakes around here, but that one is
Lake
sort
Jean,
of our favorite.
and then I like to go out to RB Winter State Park.
Yes,
And
that's a great one too.
It's very steep, but the hike up to the overlook,
Yep.
you do that and then you come back down, you go to the beach, and it's always ice cold. It doesn't matter. I feel like Lake Jean
You
is
do
the
some
same
cold
way.
plunges.
Yeah. It's very healthy for you, right? Anti-inflammatory. But it's always ice cold. And then I don't think their snack bar is as active as Lake Jean's. They
Okay.
have lifeguards more often up
Yep.
at Ricketts Glen. But I don't know, RB Winter State Park, it's like one of those black zones that even if you go out in the wintertime, they have a lot of stargazing activities out there that are really cool.
Yeah,
to attend.
actually, we
You
have
can
some
see
of their
stuff.
events on our calendar.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's
so you can
awesome.
see it. One other piece that I was just thinking of is it just sort of became a tradition. And if we do a tradition in our family, I like to keep it really like low pressure so
Yeah.
that it's easy to root. But we in Bloomsburg, there's an ice cream shop called Incredible Popcorn.
Yeah.
And when you go, you can get these kind of like ridiculous sundaes.
Sure.
And so the last day of summer, we always go and we do that. And so I think it'd be fun.
old bowl of
And
ice
I like supporting, the local business.
Sure.
And I think all families in the area could find a local gem like that in Lewisburg and Sunbury and Selinsburg and Selinsgrove.
Our favorite in Bloomsburg is Brennan's Big Chill.
They're fantastic.
It's under new management, and I was so happy to see them not close. The family passed it on to the new owners and then taught them how to make the homemade ice cream. The story is just lovely.
Yep.
So, yeah, ironically, with my nieces, because she's going to college, we just went and got family ice cream there just this past week. Yeah, really cool stuff. Well, Colleen, if folks want to reach out and get in contact, what's the best way for families, parents, caregivers to find out your website, right?
Yeah, so you can go right to our website or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram.
Susquehanna Kids.
Just Susquehanna Kids.
Susquehanna Kids.
Just search, I know it's a mouthful and it's a long word, but Susquehanna Kids and all the information is on there. We just started doing text signups, so people can sign up and get information right to their phone or email. However you want to engage with the information is up to you.
Amazing.
But you can go to our website.
Well, I wish you a very happy back to school.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Colleen Bowman of Susquehanna Kids, again, susquehannakids.com. That's where you find all of the amazing resources she's been talking about. I'm Laura Good. Thanks for joining us on yet another episode of Explore the SRV. We'll catch you next time in the Susquehanna River Valley.